Shalom. Let's start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to those fillet that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth, all faith, truth, and sincerity. I'm on the Bible by getting us sitting. This we're going to, just sitting just about, the times that we're in, prophecy, we got people protesting, the uprising of people protesting right now, what's going on with ICE, the ICE situation with ICE, and, we in those times, I say it ain't gonna get no better for America, Babylon Great, this place is going down, and it's a good thing. And the apostles and the elders and brethren for years, the Lord had to choose me to tell you, hey, this place, America, Babylon Great, is gonna come to an end. It's gonna come to an end, chaos and all hell gonna break loose in the streets of America, in the cities in America. Things gonna it's finna get chaotic, going forward. It's not gonna get no better. It's not gonna slow down. These so-called white men, Edomite devils, like I said, they trying to get their NWO agenda going. They want excuse me, they want full control. They want full control. I say they want to be like the Most High. They want to, get that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Push the people to get push it so people could take it, and it's part of prophecy too. That's got to happen. That's got to happen. That RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. That prophecy has got to completely come to pass and fulfilled. For people to buy. You ain't gonna be able to buy and sell, do anything without it. Because this economy is collapsing, man. You can see it. This economy is fully finna collapse. It could be this year. It could be this year. It could be in 26. The way things are going. We just gotta see. Everything's a process to it, but we see that those times are ahead. This place is going down. And more, it's gonna be a lot more chaos in the streets, and people just, gonna be riding, and it's gonna get, it's gonna get serious as we go forward, But I ain't gonna make this long. I'm not gonna make this long. So 2 Ezra 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So that word right there, woe, means destruction. So destruction to this world, the so-called man East Sodomite's world, and them that dwell therein. 2/3 Israelites. Those that don't believe in the truth of Lord Yahweh Shai, that caught up in the ways of the world, the philosophies, that trust in this world, or the so-called white man East Sodomites, that put their faith and trust and faith in, they put their faith and trust in the so-called white man East Sodomites, world, the benefits, all that is, it's not going to be good for a lot of you so-called Negro, Latino, Israelites that put y'all trust in it, because it's going to backfire on you, because the so-called white man East Sodomite devils, the so-called white man Edomites, which are the devils, are liars, man. They smile in your face, hey, tell you this and that, then later on, excuse me, later on they lie. In your face, and do some other thing, do something else. They don't keep their word, so a lot of death and destruction that come to the so-called white man East Sodomite devils, into 2/3 of Israelites. They put their faith in they put their faith and trust in the so-called white man East Sodomite devils. But next verse, 2 Ezra 15:15. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. So the destruction drive, not so the sword, which I say the modern day sword is the gun, and I say, these martial law troops, Go be in the streets. You know, people gonna be in the streets with their guns and so forth. And like I said, the Lord Yahweh Howard Shah is for bring the Lord Yahweh Howard Shah for bring his wrath and judgment down upon America by the great. You know, you finna see people out in the streets. Hey, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna get that serious. You know, people just gonna be out there, not just peaceful protests. It's gonna go for a peaceful protest to just all out violence in the streets. You know. And like I said, we in those times, going forward, it's like, this is just the beginning. It's going to get real chaotic going forward, It's not going to, like I say, you see what's going on right now. It's just, you think that, okay, there's just something that's happening right now, but it's really, it's the beginning, but it's going to intensify. It's not going to stop. It's not going to slow down, So, it's going to get more, out of control, I said we in those times, but 2 Ezra 15:16, for there shall be sedition among men evading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in power. So that's what's you got a protest going on, but like I said, it's gonna get more to a point where a lot of people not gonna care what the mayor say, anything, or the police chief, whatever it may be. They ain't gonna care about none of that, right? Whatever Trump talking about, they don't give a damn what he talking about. No, they ain't gonna got none of that. Folk gonna be like, hey man, you doing all this and that to people, this and that. We don't care what you talking about. We're gonna do what we gotta do. We're gonna take we're gonna take action in our hands, and we gotta fight back, shoot back, whatever it may be, and that's what's gonna happen. Like I said, finna all out anarchy, chaos in America, Babylon the Great. That's what's ahead. This economy, this dollar's finna collapse. It's finna get real serious going forward, man. And I say we know times, But next verse, 2 Ezra 15:17, a man shall desire to go into the city, shall not be able. So like I say, it's gonna get so bad out here that those, I say, gonna have the martial law. It's gonna be martial law, declared, and I say gonna have those troops, in the streets, in the cities, the Humvees and stuff like that, blocking out parts of the city that you can't enter into. You might have to go to another side of the city, another side of the town or the city, where it may be. You can't go through this, it's blocked off. So you want to desire to go to another part of the city, but you can't because it's blocked off. They're gonna have it blocked off. So that's coming. That's ahead, man. It can happen this year. It can get so bad out here in the streets of America. The martial law be declared, and then, like I said, the troops just come in and they just block off parts of your cities, man. You can't go through, and that's gonna happen. The prophecies of the word of the Lord, they don't lie. It's playing out. Things are playing out now. It's not gonna slow down. So, a lot of people that didn't believe the apostles and the elders of Berger Stone that teach the word of the Lord for years, say, hey, preach the downfall of America, Babylon the Great, what's to come. Hey, you gonna see it in real time. You gonna see the scriptures playing out in real time, man, right in your face, man. So, the only ones that gonna make it through these times now going forward is the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives, the elect of the Israelites. Hopefully I'm part of righteous number. Hopefully Lord Yahweh Shai have mercy. Hopefully Lord Yahweh Shai have mercy upon me. But that's who's gonna make it out of this. The elect. So next verse, 2 Ezra 15:18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So because of the pride of the city, so because of the pride for people out here in America, these proud people out here, these women out here too that's proud and loud, especially so-called nigga woman, that's loud and proud. I don't need no man talking all that crazy shit, on the podcast, what it may be. That's finna be stopped, and Lord Yahweh finna cut all that shit off. He finna stop all that. Excuse my language, but that's finna stop too. You proud for women, men too out there too. Proud for men, that talk crazy shit too, especially, those that talk crazy to the apostles, Ellsberg, and Millstone, men, Lord, that teach the truth, that talk crazy, all that proud, being high-minded, Lord Yahweh bring that down, man. The Lord Yahweh finna humble a lot of people, man, these times going forward, man. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to know there's a higher power, is at work here, It ain't just the so-called white man, Esau, the white devil, Satan. It's the Most High. Yahweh Shai is orchestrating it. He orchestrating these times, the prophecies of the book, or word of his word. It's gonna be performing. And that's what the apostles Ezra and Stone teach the word and tell you, about the understanding of it. They really give you to you understanding of it. To have vision. You really gotta have vision to understand what the apostles and Ezra, brother Graham Stone saying according to the prophecies of the Bible, what's to come. Because if you don't have that vision, understanding, they say I salve, to have, to know what's about to happen, to see it happen before it happens, to have, a vision of it. But if you don't see it or have that vision of it, then you're not gonna understand it. You're gonna mock, like I say, you're gonna mock, scoff, laugh, like these other, Israelites out here, camps, or it may be, that's going off according to the word of the Lord, especially in prophecy about the RFID chip not being the mark of the beast, and so forth. That the Lord Yahushua is gonna humble a lot of those false prophets and teachers and people that that deny that the RFID chip is not the mark of the beast. when that comes to be to where it's mandatory for you to take and to put in your right hand on your forehead to buy and sell, to function in this society, the problem to the solution once this economy collapse, this dollar collapse, the dollar ain't no good no more, then you'll know. Then you will know that a prophet had been among you. The apostles, Ezra, and starting to teach the word of the Lord, then you will know. When these prophecies begin to then you'll know. Then when these prophecies become to come to pass. Excuse me. When these prophecies become to come to pass, when you see it happening. So, a lot of people out here, like I said, because they're proudful, because Lord Yahushua and bring that down. A lot of people get taken out of their houses, dragged out of their houses, put into concentration camps. Getting, whatever happens in there, getting their head chopped off and whatever it may be by the guillotines. I say you're going to have men that, you think those tough guys going to be out here afraid of how bad it's going to be out here. Your toughest guys, you think that, on the block or whatever it may be, that you may know, they're going to be afraid like, whoa, this is crazy. This is something that I never thought happened, or, it's just, it'll be overwhelming, But 2 Ezra 15:19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So that's what's coming. That's what's ahead, man. It's gonna be like I said, the love men and waxing cold, that's going on now. People just you got kids out here, teenage kids killing their parents and not care about anything, I said love me watching the cold now. But it's gonna get worse, Like I'm saying, when there's a lack of resources, a lack of things that people need in the stores, food, whatever it may be, you're gonna have people they're gonna do what they gotta do to survive. They're gonna kill you for what you got, your goods, in your house or or whatever, whatever you may have, they're gonna take it. Because like I said, the great troubles that's ahead, the great tribulations that's are ahead, that's coming to America, Babylon the Great, I say it's not gonna slow down, man. We're at the end of this thing. The days are going by quickly, The Lord Yahushua, the Lord Yahushua, excuse me, the Lord Yahushua speeding up the times, speeding up the days, and like I said, it's time for the so-called white man, Esau, Mike. His time is short. His time is running out. To push his NWO agenda, and I say, Lord Yahushua, speeding up, so hey, the speeding up the time so that the elect gonna be saved, because it's gonna be a lot of death and destruction out here, and like I said, the Lord speeding up this time for the elect's sake. So that the elect can be delivered. The Lord Yahushua can return and deliver his elect from this, from the the hell that's the all out chaos and hell that's is going to be in America Babylon the Great. Going forward. So I said, man, we know times. It's man. I say it all boils down to if you're the elect or not if you're of the elect of the so-called Negro, Latinos, Israelite. If you're a part of the number, the 144,000 1/3. If you're not, then you go to the 2/3 number and you're gonna be destroyed. Hopefully I'm part of the righteous number. Hopefully I'm part of the righteous number. Have mercy by Lord Yahushua, escape the wrath and judgment of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua in these times. So with that, I didn't want to mention too long. So again, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kakadash, to the apostle elders, to the Sisakan brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters, to the few Akwaf sisters that do